Chinese Counter-Strike at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Tyloo win Mirage and go up 2-0, and then ViCi bite back with a couple. Now, the scores are tied to a piece, and we do seem to get a repeat of the ANZ Grand Final, which pushed us all the way to the 5th map, and that's exactly what's happened here in the Asian Grand Final as well. It's Tyloo and ViCi that are going head-to-head. And gladly, we do get to go and see Overpass. It's something that we haven't really gotten at all really here in Road to Rio and DreamHack Masters and any of those competitions. It's a map that seems to have been forgotten, but finally, we get to see a little bit more of it.
Yeah, I mean, we did see it earlier on coming into DreamHack where I believe it was between Tyloo and ViCi that did actually start things off in Overpass. That was a bit of a one-sided story, though, with Tyloo just pretty much giving a one-sided licking. I mean, look, just focusing a little bit on train first, I guess, there. I mean, that was just ViCi dominant on the CT side. Took him a couple of rounds on the T side to eventually close it out, but I think it was just always the case of, oh, it's eventually going to happen. Come on, hurry up, ViCi. Okay, they did it. Cool.
Yeah, definitely took a little longer than anticipated. What does that really do to the mentality of ViCi, if anything, and for Tyloo the same?
I'm not really sure. I think we saw a similar story on Inferno, right? I felt like that was kind of a repeat of the same game in a way. You know, one team sort of having a one-sided half. Tyloo pegged a few back, maybe not as convincing, like at least in the middle of Inferno they pegged it back and made the scores even, whereas ViCi was kind of front-running that entire time before Tyloo started to wake up a little bit. Maybe that gives them the momentum they want going into Overpass, but it's a very different story to the upper bracket where Tyloo, it was the first map of the series, I think they were going into Overpass, nice and fresh. Now we're many maps deep. Are they going to be able to bring that high progressive style that they did on Overpass last time? I'm not sure.
It's a very good question, Pilski. One more that we have to answer is whether or not Kaze is going to be able to keep up the trajectory that he has started here in this series. Kev, he's been integral in the last couple of victories for ViCi Gaming.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I'm like, wait, 30 kills? He actually did manage to get 30 at the very end. So, I mean, just impact on the last 2 rounds that ViCi were able to take, and he's really been leading from out in front. So, look, if he's able to continue that form, it's going to make it easier for ViCi Gaming to complete the comeback, the reverse sweep, and the chances of me dabbing on you guys. But, I mean, because you can make one argument saying that Tyloo are coming in this, they're going to be tied. You can also leverage that as ViCi as well. They've had to dig very deep to actually close out these last 2 maps. That's where fatigue's going to start setting in. And sometimes players play better when they're, 4 maps in, 5 maps in, because these guys just grind CS all day. They'll get tired around 10 hours of playing on it. But who knows what the form is right now. Are they going to be too tight or not?
Certainly a lot of questions as we do head into the final map here. It'll be Overpass between ViCi and Tyloo, and it is a grand final going all the way to 5. So you do not want to miss this one. Don't go too far. We'll be back after this.
Slow. We're coming off the best of times with nowhere to go. No bright lights for the future, only frozen rain. Try and ignite a revolution. Some things never gonna change. Don't let it get the best of us. I'll fight for what you know. Let the world bet against us, but we'll be getting close. The time is running out tonight, so let's go. So let's go. Crying eyes try to look away. We're no good at pain. The same old mess we always seem to make. Clean it up again. A metal heart with a black key. It could be good as gold. But in your head, a voice is screaming, we'd be better off alone. Don't let it get the best of us. I'll fight for what you chasing the future, let's go. So we don't sink alone. Don't let it get the best of us. I fight for what you know. Let the world bet against us, but we'll be getting close. The time is running out tonight, so let's go.
Well, Tyloo have managed to let this one go all the way through to map number 5. And do you know what this is? It's a ball of alfoil, which we're going to toss away, just like Tyloo tossed away the last couple of maps. ViCi have pushed us through to Overpass. You guys are looking a little bit confused. Are you confused as to how Tyloo's let it get all this way?
Why did you just do that to the nice piece of alfoil? Could have kept everything warm, just like right now, the series heating up. That would have been, I mean, all that we've seen so far is kind of like just the covering. The dish has been made, it's very warm, and now it's ready to serve. We're coming into the final map of Overpass, and we're definitely not over some Counter-Strike action just yet. This is where we get really keen. This is where the blood starts getting pumping.
Yeah, this is where I'm actually finally excited to watch this series, because quite frankly, getting to this point has really felt like a bit of a formality on some of these maps. You know, we've seen a team get out onto a significant lead, and then the opponent tries to come back, but you never know. It's never really going to happen. And well, we're finally here on Overpass. We're finally getting to a map that feels like it really matters. And looking at the odds, things have definitely equalized here as well. And it feels like everyone's kind of anticipating a good final map here, Pilski. So tell me why Tyloo's just going to run away with Overpass.
I think it's a question of if they're going to run away with Overpass, and I think you're really looking at some of the individuals having a bit of a slow day at the office these last couple of maps. I don't think I've seen Slowly play this poorly yet. His entire time playing for Tyloo. He's been pretty consistent up until this point, so this is the first series where he's running into any deficits. Danking as well, having some uncharacteristic, inconsistent maps, which we saw a little bit of in Road to Rio, but for the most part, he's been quite impactful. So we're going to need to see the new additions bringing that form that we've seen so far in this tournament and stepping it up for this last map. All I'm asking is one good map out of him.
Yeah, and is that too much to ask, Kev? I know you're the scriptwriter here. You've got everything so far going to plan. Everything that you've predicted has so far come to pass. What are we getting on Overpass?
Look, this is probably going to be a Tyloo victory. Let's be realistic. I predicted ViCi to win, so all the teams I predicted to win have been pretty good at pushing the other teams to this limit, and then for some reason they kind of capitulate towards the end and lose. So it makes me a little bit sad because I'd like to be right for once in my life. But hey, ViCi have a chance of bringing in the fire, the form as well, answering the aggression of Tyloo. They had a look the first time around. Can maybe find the answer this time around as well.
Well, maybe you'll be right. Here we go into Overpass. It is map 4, but it's really map 5 because Tyloo came in with a 1-map advantage, winning the upper bracket final against ViCi Gaming on this very map. But Tyloo have just lost train, and ViCi are looking like they're coming back into the series. They've won 2 maps in a row, and who's to say they can't complete the reverse sweep today?
And for Tyloo, in the upper bracket, it was on this CT side that they absolutely dominated ViCi Gaming. They went up what was like 10-0. But that was when they were much fresher coming into that upper bracket series, coming into that first map, and now we are many maps deep. I don't know if you're going to be able to rely on the aim. Fatigue definitely being a bit of a factor at this point when you get this deep into a best-of-5 series.
I mean, you say that, but both teams here have played the exact same amount of maps today. There's no lower bracket run or anything like that for ViCi, so both teams should be equally as fresh or equally as tired.
Yeah, but one of them relies on their aim a lot more than the other in some instances.
This is the part where Zoking's just warming up. I mean, normally this man sits on maybe about 6 hours aim prac, but here we are. Tyloo starting to hit their shots again. Jam Young and Advent, last people left standing, still trying to persist onto this B bomb site.
I mean, you kind of highlighted Slowly as being a little bit quiet in this series. We've seen 2 quick taps with a USP to start this round for Tyloo, and it more or less ended the round for Tyloo as well. Advent will try to salvage the situation, but he's got 12 HP, doesn't have any mates to help him out, and the bomb is stuck there on the B site already, so he really has to commit to this as well. Not a lot in that one for ViCi. Tyloo starting off with a pistol. You can't think of a better way to kick off the final map of a series.
Good start for them. Exactly how they would have wanted it. No bomb plan for ViCi Gaming, so there won't be any AK dropping purchases from them. No Galil force buys. And limited kills, only 2 kills, so they're actually just going to full save and look to go for AKs and armor in the next round. Potentially try to find 1 or 2 kills here. Running through the edge of the Molotov there with a couple of their players, and Summer going to try and chuck a nade onto these last 2 Ts. Actually, it's a double nade onto Advent. See you later.
That's going to help the stats.
They've just big brained the big brain himself.
Dan King's on a bit of a mission here, looking for some frags with that MP9. Backed up by Slowly, but it will be Dan King in the end.
The way that Tyloo are playing this at the moment, it's very reminiscent to what we saw previously in the upper bracket match, which is, okay, we're just going to run at them.
But we talked about that in the pre-match analysis, and we sort of spoke about what ViCi really needs to do to combat that. They've had a bit of time to think about it.
They need to actually be present on this T side because they weren't in that upper bracket match.
I was going to say, they need to click on the pixels right for the picking, otherwise it doesn't matter what cool strategies they come up with.
Well, nade stack onto attacker does put him down a little bit in the HP. Some utility damage chipping away at ViCi, and now ViCi going to do what they really didn't do in the upper bracket match, which was go towards the B bomb site. Slowly an attacker trying to hold this one down. So far so good for Slowly. He finds the initial pick, but traded back by Zoking.
Counter flashbangs from somebody, though, very, very solid. As Kaze just can't seem to find these openings working for him at the moment. Slowly he's thinking about pushing forward, but very, very safe behind the barrel smoke at the moment. More than happy just to chill out for now. He's able to knock down that short pressure. And pretty much this is all down to the IGL once again, as Advent's going to be collapsed upon by all the members of Tyloo, pretty much. Only Dan King won't get an upgrade, but he'll be more than happy to take the MP9 to the next round as ViCi can get some armor and pistols, but so far this is not a good start for them for Overpass.
Yeah, really shut down there towards B. A good start for Slowly and Summer in this series. Really everyone on Tyloo and ViCi, they're going to have to take a save. And it's worrisome to see them get shut down so straightforwardly by Tyloo.
Pretty routine shutdown at the end of the day at the B bomb site. Not much to really say there.
Tyloo
just shot people. Cool.
Well, ViCi rolling into another gun round. I mean, that upper bracket game, I hate to keep bringing it up, but that was a game similar to this. The way it started is just like, it felt like a flurry of very, very quick rounds that ended in about 20 to 30 seconds, and all of a sudden ViCi Gaming were down 10-0. I'm hoping that this is not a repeat of that. Maybe ViCi, if they just slow down the pace a little bit, make Tyloo second guess themselves a little bit more. They are going to contest this short B area.
Oh, look at that HE grenade.
Yeah, good stuff from Slowly.
Makes Renegades almost proud with utility damage right there.
Dan King's actually on this deep line towards pipes, and there's a 4-man stack towards this B bomb site.
So King, entry duties, but doesn't manage to do too much. Slowly, he might have been listening to you, Pilski, because he's 8-2 right now. Make that 9-2. Orman's down as well. Slowly might be looking for an ace here as he continues to push in toward Monster. Will finally be shut down by Kaze. When all said and done, though, he's done his job. And Tyloo, very likely to find their 5th off the back of it.
It's barely 100 HP between Advent and Kaze left standing. Advent going to try and find the timing through the smoke. Doesn't work out for him. But he's at least able to escape and try to utilize a bit more angles as Kaze now looking to peer out from the monster pipe. It's going to be so difficult for him to retrieve the bomb. Advent does have a smoke grenade to work with, a single flash for Kaze as well. It's all going to be down to the entries and the angles he checks. The first one is a perfect check. And Advent also chips in at the right time. Attacker just can't seem to land the killing blow on Kaze. Finally able to adjust the A4 spray. But ViCi, at least give that one a good crack. But this is starting to get a bit scary for them now as they're just unable to find an answer on the B bomb site.
Maybe it's time to have a look at A. There are 2 bomb sites on this map, believe it or not.
The thing is that a lot of the time, ViCi don't play like it. They do very much heavily trend towards that B side of the map. And against some of the less tier teams, they will have a lot of success cracking that B site. But Tyloo have been shutting them down time and time again. So this time around, it's a 1-3-1. ViCi walking through connector. Bit of a different look.
I mean, the good thing about these rounds at the very least is that ViCi have been doing damage, so Tyloo's economy hasn't really ballooned out of control just yet. It's only DreamHack with a lot of cash, but he hasn't really seen anyone either.
Summer's holding on the off angle with FAMAS, but I'm not too eager to see him actually take an Angel from there. So he'll just back away when the flash pops and throw his smoke down. Bit of a spam through and overstays a little bit. Zoking will punish it. It's a better start for ViCi. Back up toward the A bomb site. They've caused some problems, caused a bit of a rotation, but Orman's knocked over down toward B. And slowly's good run here on Overpass continues.
Yeah, not sure what Orman's really going to be able to do with a Mach 10 in an angle like that. Slowly can definitely shoulder peek and get the information that all of ViCi's coming towards Monster here, and he does. That surely will prompt the rotate here from Tyloo. What a counter flash off the pillar, but traded straight back from Jam Young.
Yep, and it's all down to Attacker now to try to hold things off. Heaven hasn't really been smoked off though, so DreamHack might be posted on the angle, but Attacker coming over bridge just can't land the spray, and DreamHack has not come into the position. It's Kaze that's working, making it work with the Krieg.
DreamHack has to save. There isn't that much money for Tyloo.
And just like that, ViCi able to finally get something on the board.
Yeah, but it's only one round. It's one of many that they need to get. Tyloo off to such a belter that it's just going to be ViCi playing from a deficit for a fairly prolonged amount of time.
I don't know. I think that's a big mental block that ViCi's been able to overcome picking up a round like that, particularly towards the B side of the map. Again, it's just continuing that storyline from the upper bracket game into this game. They've actually been able to get through with a T round earlier than not, and like Kevin said, some damage has been done to the CT economy. So let's say they get through again in this round, and all of a sudden what was a one-sided half could quickly start to turn around for ViCi. And then maybe Tyloo start to second-guess themselves about the aggression when they don't have the economy behind them. How deep is their playbook on the T side? Didn't look great against Tiger, but that was a while ago. It's a double long setup this time from Tyloo. One player in connector, only one towards B, leaving slowly all by himself. It's a pretty gamble stacky kind of CT side from Tyloo. Really trying to read where ViCi intends to go.
Well, the bomb is going to be angling back over to the fountain area, but with a double stack over at A at the stage, somebody's actually going to be pushed out of unders. Somebody just can't find the timing, and DreamHack tries to crawl out. Jam Young dispatches of that, and Kaze just making sure his teammates are safe from behind. He's able to pick off the pushing player from long, so just like that.
You love to see it. Get Jam Young involved in the round earlier.
This is such a critical round for ViCi to win. Look at the money on the CT side. We have a game on our hands.
What money?
Exactly.
Not seeing much.
Looks like my bank account.
With the position of Jam Young right now, actually, ViCi might be able to go for a pretty substantial hunt as well. Their money's not that fantastic, though, so they might not overcommit too many guns to it, but if they can take a couple out of the hands of Tyloo, that's certainly well worth it. Looks like it will just be that more passive, safer style opted for by ViCi.
Oh, man. We've got a game on our hands. Can ViCi actually do this?
Sure. This is the ViCi that we've been waiting for this whole time. Don't do it, Kev. Don't do it. If you guys in the chat could see what we could see right now,
Horrifying.
you would be screaming bloody murder.
You'd be loving it at the moment, Twitch chat.
Only one word comes to mind, and that is cringe.
Yeah.
I am not cringe. I am PogChamp.
You are not PogChamp at the moment.
I am PogChamp the entire time. And when I was supporting ViCi, I was PogChamp, and now look at them, 2 rounds on the T side. Still a long way for them to come back into this. They've broken the economy of Tyloo, but they could undo it with just a poorly played round, a misstep in the wrong direction, and that's it. They could still lose this game quite convincingly. So a lot of hard yards to do right now on this T side of Overpass.
Sure, it would be a big result though for ViCi, just in restoring our confidence in them as well. I think we sort of all kind of jumped off the hype train a little bit, particularly once that result in Extremes Land happened last year. It seemed like, oh, you know, that seemed like the opportunity for ViCi, and then we gave them another chance going into Road to Rio, where really everything was looking good for them, and then they let that one slip as well. Weibo Cup was a poor result for ViCi. But if they can get the win here against Tyloo in DreamHack Masters Spring, it's just another big result that reinforces they deserve to be part of the discussion at the top end of the Asian scene. And the same obviously goes then for the Chinese region as well. And that's better as well. A double swing from Advent and Zoking slowly goes down. The aggression continues. Dan King tries to challenge, and he'll get a headshot onto Advent. But he also loses a significant portion of his HP. Attacker chimes in with one. And Tyloo aren't out of this round just yet. Yeah, that M4's been picked up by Dan King too. Just waiting for the push from Advent. It's kind of going a little bit wrong here for ViCi.
Oh, I don't know if somebody was actually spotted over at short pipe, but now he's got the flank position. He's got the flank pressure. But he's just whiffed out absolutely every single shot. And Dan King's trying to tap away at the feet of Zoking. But when you're shooting at toes, all it means that you just have to jump away and you'll be fine. You'll be right as rain.
That is a big landmine avoided for ViCi. And you have to say, I feel like if you're not 4 maps deep of CS, you'd put money on any of the players on Tyloo to actually just hit that triple spray down.
At least Dan King has an AK he can save into the next round.
Grasping at straws here.
They'll have guns in the next round to play with for Tyloo, but for ViCi, the money's starting to build up, which is the scary part of Overpass, is when the Ts have consecutive bio rounds and utility to keep throwing. And the way that ViCi actually approaching this map at the moment, they've been able to take this map control pretty easily. Tyloo are trying to fight this connector area, trying to fight the short water. It's not really working out for them right now. The site defense isn't working out, so where to next?
Yeah, I like how they've sort of adapted into this one, ViCi. You know, it was quite one-dimensional towards the B bomb site early on in the half, but now ViCi have started to pressure up towards A a little bit. They've started to pressure the underpass a little bit as well, kind of keeping Tyloo thinking, but they are still predominantly going back to that comfort bomb site, which is B. So put 3 on the trot. They've got the bomb down 3 times.
He's barely seen anyone. He's 3-1. What is this? 8 rounds in, he's 3-1.
He's on the A bomb site. He's barely seen anything.
Just
He's forced to save.
Yeah.
The save city.
I call that one rotate strike.
Woman's 0 and 7 too.
Woman's doing a very good roleplay of Advent.
Couple of assists for him, but not much past that. Either way, you can't really complain with how things have progressed. Obviously, ViCi would have liked to have gotten off to a better start than 0 and 5, but the way that they've come back into this discussion has been really impressive.
Yeah, and here's another opportunity to put Tyloo on the single reset, which wouldn't make things 5 apiece. Looks like a match medic has gone through there. Someone's had some kind of an issue. We hear the clicks in the chat. And the pause is resolved.
Thanks, admin. Greatly appreciated. I believe his name is Turtle Man.
He's a bit of a mutant.
Definitely not a teenager though anymore, so... Not much utility for Tyloo to work in this buy round.
Yeah, that's going to make it harder to hold the B bomb site. Without the counter flashes and the Molotovs. Doesn't look like the approach anyway. Somebody's going to get aggressive and drops the smoke and gets away with it. That's a bit more what we saw from Tyloo in that initial game.
Yeah, and a far better response as well. Puts ViCi back to the drawing board. You know, what's plan B now that we've lost Zoking? Entry frag is down. Jamyang is pretty handy on the entries as well if he needs to be.
Two smokes still towards the A side of the map. One of them dropped on divider there by Summer. Is going to aggress towards bathrooms. ViCi starting to size up long A and the bathrooms. Dan King might re-smoke divider here, or long A. ViCi just 2 smokes, 1 flashbang. Interesting smoke. And ViCi starting to creep up that long A wall. Kaze going to smoke something and flash over the top.
Oh, those flashes are starting to come in. Dan King has given away his position now, and Orban sharp. That might be his first frag of the map, but it's an impactful one indeed. Advent gets rolled over by Summer, but the frags are coming through thick and fast. Jamyang's got himself a couple. It's enough to put him into a one-on-one. Bomb plant goes down in time. Might have heard somebody pushing him here as well. Winnable for Jamyang, but somebody hits the headshot, and that's enough. Tyloo will get their 6th.
But they don't have money in the bank, and ViCi do. Winning with that one player surviving is going to be expensive for Tyloo. But as we've said before, ViCi need to capitalize on it. They've created the space, they've created the window to be able to reset Tyloo here and streak away with 2 rounds. But they have to take advantage of that window they've created.
ViCi angling for this bathroom's control a little bit earlier this time around, but Dan King's got the AWP. ViCi have been avoiding the shot so far. Zoking going to be the first point of contact again, but Jamyang gets the trade this time around, and Dan King can't dance out of there.
This is fight between Orman and Slowly. We've seen it time and time again. And again, Slowly gets the best of him.
Doesn't seem to be able to put a foot wrong right now, Slowly, but he'll be traded down importantly by Advent. Kaze, bit of a whiff onto somebody, will leave Advent alone, but can he find attacker on B? He's already spotted him. Has to aggress up before that rotation comes through. Advent nearly gets there in time. Attacker's giving him more opportunities. These one-on-ones really can't afford to be presented against Advent, who is kind of hitting shots at the moment.
But he's not going to be expecting this big flank coming in from somebody at the moment. And oh my goodness, he's watching it! But Advent, it just can't calibrate. He double guesses himself. And somebody's retrieved the AWP, hits him with the shot. And once again, another round that goes begging for ViCi as Tyloo able to win another one-on-one clutch thanks to somebody.
That
one-on-one.
would have been a huge clutch from Advent. 4 kills in that round is what would have gone his way.
Copy-paste what I said last round.
Money's low for Tyloo.
For both sides now, because you look at ViCi, at least they've got a bit of loss bonus working for them. That's the only thing they have right now. It is going to be up to 5 rounds if they drop this, so it's not too bad, all things considered.
I think this is for ViCi to stay in the half, really.
Yeah, it's kind of starting to creep away from them, isn't it? Even though it feels like a close half, it looks like a close half. When you see the scoreboard, it's not.
Oh, end of the day, if you're not taking advantage of the opportunities you're creating, you only got yourself to blame. So ViCi, they better get a wriggle on. They're going to move through long A now, taking some control of the A side of the map. Going to test Summer and Dan King over there once again. Flashbang pushes Summer off the line. Smoke over towards Divider. No rotation pulled from B yet.
And Dan King going aggressive at the moment. Summer, a lot of responsibility to try to hold on to long A. He's going to be mollied off, tries to dive through, tries to get back onto default. But the great counter flashbang coming out from somebody. Of course, there's somebody with a flashbang saving and bailing out his teammates. Fast going to run out of ammunition. Dan King, at the very least, able to grab one. But with no time left, I would say no time left because 12 seconds left. Kaze's running away. Orman's committing. I don't know what to make of that.
Oh.
And Summer, what is that with the FAMAS?
That's a lot of loss bonus for ViCi, actually. I thought they wouldn't have had any cash going into this one. I mean, Advent and Kaze don't.
Yeah, but that's a critical round for Tyloo, keeping 3 guns alive. And just another one on the trot for them. 3 in a row now. ViCi look pretty solid at 5 and 3, but now 8 to 3, things start to spiral back out of control, and have to ask them again to put in those hard yards to come back into this half.
It's a good start from Summer. Starting to get into that bully mode. This is where it gets scary for ViCi, I would say.
We've seen this story before. Summer decides to just start bullying people. Just push him out of the server. Then Dan King has all the space to work with.
I don't like how this is looking, lads. Money in the bank for Tyloo now. For ViCi to get 6 here, it's going to take probably 2 in a row to break the money and then close out that force buy in the last round. Maybe they would be happy with 5 heading onto their CT side. I don't know. I guess it would depend on the pistol at that point.
Certainly is slipping away a bit for ViCi. Had high hopes for them going into Overpass after winning Inferno and Train. Dan King puts another one in the grave. Tyloo continue to find advantages. It's starting to fall apart a little bit now for ViCi. You know, individualistic kind of peaks there from Jamyoung. After already losing a player, you can see that he's trying to pull the round back for ViCi, but is it going to work?
And these are just all one-on-one deals.
Yep.
Like, these are just individual deals which ViCi are losing at the moment. You're not seeing that many flashbangs. You're not seeing the Molotovs that are being used that you would have seen in previous rounds. ViCi, they're starting to fall apart a little bit here, and it's just another one-on-one that goes in the favor of Tyloo. And I'm feeling like a broken record at this stage.
Yeah, I think you have to look at this from the whole map's perspective. Can't win the half anymore, ViCi, but how often do we see a big comeback in the second half when you're down something like 12-3, 11-4, and you just run out of steam? Maybe 16-13, 16-14, the scoreline. This is now, the last couple of rounds of this half are where that difference is going to be made for ViCi. Whether they're going to have enough time in this second half to come back if they start off well, or they start off well and they just peter out when there's, you know, maybe 2 rounds too little to play with.
I just don't like what I'm seeing from ViCi. Where's the calls coming out? They're just taking individualistic fights with Tyloo and losing them all across the map. You're playing directly into Tyloo's hand at that point. That's what they want you to do.
It's just another
and there's another one.
Now, you're not going to win that. Orman consistently has lost that one-on-one against Slowly.
It's just feeding Tyloo picks. This is not the ViCi that we need to see.
I think I'm just upsetting Spaghetti because they were in the part where they could actually do that before. They were in situations where they could have done the damage. You could see that utility usage was careful. Look, they're going to pick up the pace towards 8. Summer, once again, just in a position where he's just not checked at the moment. The flashbang from Dan King just ruins Jamyoung. And so somebody, you can expect him to be wide swinging. Of course he's going to be wide swinging. That's his favourite pastime.
Oh, it just keeps going as well.
Of course.
Easy second onto Advent.
If you're not missing at this stage, why are you hiding? Somebody's no coward.
And
ViCi.
it wasn't at the start of the half that Tyloo were looking this confident. It's something that's built up over time as they've gotten more and more money in the bank, as they pick up more rounds and more momentum.
I mean, ViCi really just look like they're mental booms right now on the T side. These last couple of rounds have looked awful. And Tyloo are looking better and better the more we see of them on Overpass.
Mitch cursed them when he said, "We've got a game on our hands."
Oh,
Yes.
I actually did.
It literally was. That was the turning point.
Maybe you cursed them. You're the one who predicted for them, Kev.
Unfortunate. Truly unlucky.
A 2-part curse at this point. What hand did you have it in, Jordan?
None. I had no belief.
Maybe that's worse.
Just be careful, mate. I can message Jam Young in Chinese. Remember that. And
I've
just
been
say
burned.
that elfish guy doesn't like you anymore.
I'll just hit him up with the Ni Hao Ma Piao Liang.
Out comes the B-side execute into the final round of the half, and finally maybe this will work out for ViCi Gaming as Jam
Where
Young's
was
able
that?
to get the entries. As Jordan says, yes, very pretty, very beautiful on the entries indeed.
Is the Jam Young 18 yet? That's what I'm concerned about. Don't really want to know the answer.
Jordan, the answer for that in Chinese would be Maven here.
Well, ViCi just walked into the bomb site and said, Ni howdy. Tyloo said, I don't speak that language. I'm out of here.
I actually probably know what Tyloo said in that situation, but it's not broadcast friendly. Even in a different language, it's definitely not broadcast friendly.
Mm.
And Kaze just puts another nail in the coffin for Tyloo's last round of this half, as Summer just goes, you know what, forget it, stats, who cares?
Let's save the M4 for next half.
4-11 is going to be the halftime scoreline, as ViCi at the very least able to grab one at the very end, but is it going to be enough for them to complete the comeback into the final half of the final map, or is it a case of too little too late? You're going to have to find out after a short break.
Wasting time and got eternity.
Is 4 rounds enough? That's the magic question that ViCi is going to have to answer going into the second half of Overpass. It's the final map between Tyloo and ViCi in the grand final of DreamHack Masters Spring. And ViCi certainly suffering a rough one in the first half here, but CT side, they proved to be pretty strong on that on train, and we'll see what they can do here on Overpass.
I think it'll even need to be a step better at this point, as they've given Tyloo the confidence and the opportunity to warm up after a couple of lackluster maps, and that's a dangerous thing to allow Tyloo to do. You're up 11-4 like this, you win yourself the pistol, all of a sudden you don't have to dig deep in that T-side playbook. And I feel like if Tyloo does have to dig deep, they'll be found wanting. I'm not sure that they're going to have the depth of strategy that they need, but they might not need it. All they need is a couple of streaky rounds, break that CT economy once, and that's a recipe for success. That might be all you need to bring this Overpass victory home.
That's a good way to start it as well. Slowly picks up where he left off. But Jam Young, ever present, is a dangerous threat.
Ooh.
And that is why his pistols are sublime. And he's given ViCi the numbers advantage here on the retake of the B bomb site. They need to make this happen though, ViCi. Can't afford to be dropping the pistol.
Smoke off the short forces somebody forward. It is now the fight's going to begin. A 4-on-2 now, but the CT's overwhelming in numbers, but now not landing some of the shots that they need to.
Oh,
Somebody's
no.
there with Dan King. They're almost untouched as they complete the pistol round.
And you had to say, I think that was 4v2 at one point, maybe even 3v2, and all I saw was just CTs whiffing and whiffing and whiffing, and last couple of shots in that 20 bullet clip were connected by Tyloo. It wasn't pretty, but they got it done.
Zoking was really left out to dry there. He was kind of the only one that was actually facing, and the other two sitting down in short water and hiding behind the boxes on the site didn't do enough to help him out. 12-4. That is not how ViCi could afford to start the half. The only way that they make amends for this is with yet another force buy win. And you've got to be feeling a bit sorry for Jam Young. Gets 2 kills on the pistol round. It's not converted by ViCi. Now we ask for the exact same thing. Deagle in hand. How many times has he been able to do it over the course of this evening for ViCi? And can he do it again?
He's got his boys with him as well. Stack on this B bomb site.
Well, ViCi don't seem to believe that the A bomb site actually exists, whether they're on T or on CT.
Yeah, if you pretend that the bomb site doesn't exist, it doesn't exist.
It's
It's
like
perfect.
when
It's
you're
perfect theory there.
Driving behind a truck. If I can't see you, you can't see me. You know when you can't see their mirrors?
Yeah, be
Trucks
careful.
can't see you.
Yeah,
I think they're going
100%.
for the lucid dream approach right now. They're separating the cultures. They've just left Kaze. Malaysians go play the A bomb site.
That's why it's called Malaysians. Malay.
Funnily
Malay
enough, I can't
site.
seem to find the B in Chinese, but I'll keep figuring out my alphabet there and I'll let you know what I find. As Cars8 does manage to do some damage.
Come on. He's got to hit these scout shots. It's the only way that ViCi is going to find a way to win this round. He's had some opportunities, but only managing to land one. Credit for not going down, there is that, but now that ViCi have let Tyloo into the bomb site, it just doesn't seem like they'll win this round from here.
Straight into the save. Preserve the pistols. They've got so many grenades behind them. Do not want to be losing any of these. Just back away and keep them forward. But look at this. Somebody's already a hunt.
It's true.
He loves a good hunt.
Look, the approach to just stack the bomb site and then save if they don't come to that site is a good one. But when it's like literally championship point and you're down 12-4, you might want to be digging deep and not just hoping that you can sort of turn things around from a big deficit. Maybe this is the kind of game where you do need the magic and don't go with the consistent approach. I don't know. Whatever ViCi is doing at the moment, it ain't working for them. They're going to have to dig a little deeper.
Yeah. Might just get to see the most one-sided map of today right here on Overpass. Tyloo are well on their way to giving us that. Pistols, of course, only for ViCi here, but towards the B site goes Tyloo, and that's where Jam Young lurks with the Deagle. Damage done onto attack. Akaze got aggressive up long. Maybe that's going to funnel Tyloo back to the B bomb site.
But somebody's actually just shift walking out at the moment. And oh, Dan King and somebody just cracking over the B bomb site on the contact play. And ViCi, they were looking for noise cues, maybe grenades coming forward. They're going to get absolutely nothing at all.
Not much to write home about there for ViCi, is there?
They won't have to ride home. They're heading there pretty soon. It's looking like. I can just tell them in person.
And it's just really, I mean, that stage where ViCi were 3-5 on the T side, on the chance to break Tyloo economy again, just couldn't take those opportunities. Lost 2 one-on-one clutches against somebody. now we're here. Tyloo 2 points away, or 2 rounds away from taking a series victory. It's been a long journey for them, but they very, very close to taking the W.
Well, all of a sudden, feels like a matter of moments it's got to this point. Another very streaky game from Tyloo, where, I mean, it's been more so the clutches, but also the individual skill has put them very, very far ahead, and ViCi is struggling to adapt.
Soaking and Kaze are going to try and make the difference, and they might just. Soaking's got 2, but so does Slowly. And the situation does not improve for ViCi Gaming. Orman's been spotted in the smoke as well now. Attacker does give away his position, which is a slim chance for Orman to win the fight here, but oh dear. Attacker just too powerful.
He just hides his head behind the picnic tables and makes a bit of a snack right there out of Orman, who's been, yeah, let's be realistic. That's a shocking performance. 3 kills and 16 deaths. Just not good enough. And Slowly spotted out one more. Where you go, okay, there's definitely one on the A bomb site. Where's this other one?
Maybe, just maybe, if Tyloo do end up going to the A bomb site, Advent can pull a little bit of magic through here for ViCi. Definitely not the player that you'd expect it from, but they need something. They need a bit of a miracle here. Can Advent be that miracle worker? He's 7 and 14 right now, needs 3 kills. 10 seconds though. One plant goes down at the wrong time. He's given away his position. He's been spotted and he'll fall. But Jamyoung just can't get there in time to deny the bomb plan, and while he's gotten into pretty good position with 3 Ts still to find, it seems impossible. That'll be that. 15's up for Tyloo. That is now series point in DreamHack Masters Spring.
11 of them as well, which means that you could pretty much do anything you want as Tyloo at the stage. You're probably going to take this, and what was a good start for ViCi just fell apart as they just couldn't land any of the consecutive shots after Zoking was able to kick off the affair. And we were talking about whether or not Kaze could continue the form, and I guess the answer is no, he could not. And you're seeing that now on ViCi, just this lack of firepower. Just feels like Mirage all over again.
They've almost all gone missing, haven't they? In fact, I think everyone on this map has gone missing.
Like, you can say Jamyoung is only the one that's kind of close to positive, but I mean, in such an important series when you're kind of close to positive and that's your best performer.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess
it's just not going to cut it.
It's pretty hard to do much more for Jamyoung as an individual when the rest of the team around him is not, you know, not even getting half the amount of frags as deaths. He's constantly put in like 1v3s, and at that point it's just impossible.
And angle's not working out for Advent. Aggression into short B was a pretty critical success factor for Tyloo, but they're playing around it nicely. Not going to let Advent fall back onto the site, and that's 2 for 2. But that's going to give Tyloo control of the B bomb site. Zoking on the flank though.
Oh, denies the bomb. And, I mean, the CT still haven't rotated off A either, so this is all down to this 1-on-1 at the moment. So that was a bit of an interesting round where they go to the B bomb site. A lot of trust in Zoking getting the kills at connector. At the very least, Tyloo have 10 rounds now to work with instead of 11. Tyloo just looking to take this connector control for now. as well as this dirty water area to see what they can find over at mid and over maybe at the B bomb site. ViCi with the double stack closer to the long area of bathrooms. Flashbang's going to assist the fact that they can come out of connector unscathed. 3 over here on the A bomb site in the ViCi defense and only 2 on the B. It's really up to somebody to see if it can find anything, as out comes the divider smoke. Still a lot of time for the T's to work with, and Zoking once again going to be tested. The T's not in the position to trade.
Starts to lose a few aim duels, and all of a sudden Tyloo look mortal, but attacker pegs one back. It's Zoking back on down. 50 seconds here to get into the site and plant the bomb. Meanwhile, somebody's on a bit of an expedition to B. So Tyloo are just going to call for the cancel. Somebody feels like he might have been able to get something done over to this lower bomb site. Jamyoung is there and waiting, but there's plenty of Tyloo players headed in his direction. In fact, that smoke's probably going to help Tyloo because it'll allow them to cross into the site safely. Banking's waiting for now.
It's dropping another smoke. Advent's going to pick off somebody. And Jamyoung, he's going to fire away from the bridge position, but he can fade away pretty easily. 3 on 2, but the 2 of the members of the T side are quite low. And all of ViCi are coming in together, but attack guards trying to make the difference at the moment. Tanking trying to stay hidden at the column, but Orman's just going to spray him through. And I'd say Summer has no chance of winning this, even if it's planted for him. There's a kit, there's a lot of things for the CTs to use.
You never know. Summer's going to take the swing. He's denied the defuse, but shouldn't make much of a difference. There's heaps of time. Ooh, hold your horses.
Yeah, bomb plant will give Tyloo access to yet another bite. It's another expensive round for ViCi. That might cost them some grenades or a kit here or there, but they can still buy it. Yeah, heading into this one. Tactical timeout. Tyloo tried to solve the puzzle that is basically just putting one round together on this T side so they can claim their extra 5 grand and extra 100 Pro Tour points. And their first victory with this all-Chinese roster. Had a chance to do it in Road to Rio and fell a little short against Tiger.
Yeah.
But they've come, I'd say, leaps and bounds in a very short period of time since then.
Can only really go up from here as well for Tyloo. You know, I don't feel like this is a incredibly strong performance from them per se. Definitely leaving a little bit in the tank on Inferno there in particular. So the more time that's given to this roster, I expect the better they're going to get. That's the one problem for ViCi, isn't it? You know, they've had that time. They've been together for such a long period that you just think, like, if they were going to hit their peak, if they were going to be a solid team, they would have done it by now.
They did do it. I think the thing is that you look at the fact that they qualified for those overseas events, but they missed out on the opportunity to actually attend them. And they missed out on a lot of potential to grow. They had that upward trajectory, and if they had had that opportunity to go to those overseas events, like we saw them do at Katowice, that might have increased their potential. That might have made them grow more as a team, but it's been stagnant, unfortunately. Especially over the last couple of months, it's been definitely a downward trend. And I'd say these repeated failings against Tyloo is a bit of a sign.
Sign of the times. By the way, they're still plugging away.
First point in the game is going to be at short. Advent might be sent in on the back of the flashbang, or might just be trying to play the corner of short, which is very dangerous if he's cleared. But somebody just misses about 5 bullets.
Well, you shouldn't be allowed to get away with that one. Jamyoung just jump spotting towards Monster.
Looks like he's got some info there as well, and I don't know that Tyloo are going to find it too easy walking into the B site. Danking, however, provides an opening. There's Jamyoung down, but they do still need to find Advent and Orman, both of whom are chunked down. but Tyloo need to move quickly because the wrap is coming in from behind. Dankin gets another. He's the only one so far that's putting in too much work, but Summers also chimed in. And a bomb plant now, but this is going to really require Zoking getting nothing. Danking in the 1-on-2. Doesn't know where to look, and Zoking will finish it off easily. Another one there for ViCi. Still left wanting is Tyloo.
Tyloo a little bit strapped for money. Might take a single save, maybe invest in some pistols and armor. Just a matter of time, really, for Tyloo to push it across the line. Alright, Danking's gonna hero AK. The rest of them are gonna half invest. And it's looking like they want to go for a bit of a quicker one towards B, potentially. Gonna wait out the utility at least first, though. Walking into short B now. Not spotted on that jump spot angle by Allman, who's looking mostly towards connector, as well as that spot where you will see the heaven smoke lined up and straight into the B site. Allman lost his life, caught in no man's land.
Great shot from Slowly. Now the pace is going to have to pick up from the players on Tyloo. They can't break through the smoke, though, as Jam Young's able to hold on. Trades out to the AK-47. Might be able to pick up the ace unless Zoking steals it. It is going to be Zoking that steals it. Jam Young does the majority of the damage. Zoking once again on the flank, gets the punch, and Tyloo, another round that goes begging for them.
Well, and this is what I'm talking about with those extra couple of rounds that ViCi kind of needed to scrape through in the first half. You're getting the sense that ViCi's kind of coming back into this CT side. They're making it work. They're finding the timings. Jam Young starting to really get rolling a little bit. But the scoreline's 15-8, so how excited can you really be? If it was 13-8, then there's a bit of time for ViCi to play with. But unfortunately, they don't have that luxury, so they need a perfect game from here to bring it back. Yep. And that's just a little bit ludicrous to believe that they're going to be able to do.
Danking's kind of cooked his money as well, by the way. Last round, over-investing in that AK.
Push me down the slide, mummy. Whee! Mum's angry about the money. You stole my credit card!
Spent a little bit too much last round.
I'll say with the timing shot, but Slowly is able to get the trade out, the close player at Bikes. And he's going to utilize the rock to perfection. His last name isn't Johnson.
Kaze's just going to drop his utility and back away. This will cost Tyloo a fair bit of time, though. 40 seconds, and they're only now on the rotate down to B. So by the time they get there, they're really going to be pressured. Doing a lot to clear out dirty water as well. Smokes go down. ViCi are setting themselves up nicely in this round to hold on again. A couple of flashes available for these players as well, but Tyloo does get flashed in out of Monster. Advent's good for one. Jam Young another. And Advent trades out for Jam Young as well. It's just Slowly left alive with 9 seconds on the clock. Kaze isn't really going to give him the opportunity. Maybe I lied. Doesn't matter though. Bomb plant can't go down and Orman is out of there. It's an expensive round for ViCi, but it's another one. Hey, edge ever closer.
Allman recovers that AWP as well. Money's a bit cooked for Tyloo. Slowly survives with 1,300 in the bank. Rest of the lads sitting around 3.5. Wouldn't mind just seeing pistol armor invested around this hero AK. That's what Tyloo's going to be going for.
Oh my goodness, Tyloo just read that boost. They look at the squeaky door being blown open. And Orman, brain splattered against, I don't know, probably just blown out in midair.
Yeah, it's been a rough game for Orman, hasn't it?
Been a rough series for him, really.
Oh my goodness, what is that coming out from somebody? He goes down, but the B side, very, very risky now for Jam Young to be playing there. So Kaze has to be hitting some nice little clicks.
Has to be dodging a few clicks as well. Well, there's one for Kaze. He's got the Vox sticker on his AWP as well. You give him credit for that, but missing the shot. Now being pressured. Attacker gets the kill. And you wonder whether or not it is going to be another one of those rounds. Just the pistols coming out for Tyloo, and maybe they can make it work. Zoking and Jamyong have been the stronger players for ViCi on this map, but now it's all onto Zoking. And this might just be it. Indeed it is. Tyloo will finish it off. It took them a while on Overpass, but 16-9 will be the scoreline as they pick up the 3-2 victory over ViCi Gaming here in DreamHack Masters Spring.
Flashbang's effective. They have got through the smoke wall here, but Chris J, he is the final boss of the bomb site.
Now Spitty and Chris J to keep Mousesports alive.
Oh, Chris! He's found 3. It's down to a 2-on-2. Chris, can he close this with an ace? Oh my God!
Can they actually close this out? Boom, Chris.
Fantastic way to start, and no scopes on him himself. Absolutely saving Mousesports.
Hey, it's me, Lily from AT&T. I'm back, working from home, and here to help.
Hey Lily, I'm hearing a lot about 5G. Should I be getting excited?
Depends. Are you gonna want faster speeds?
I will.
More reliability?
Oh, also yes.
Better response times?
Definitely.
Are you gonna be making sourdough bread?
Oh, is that 5G related?
No, it's just like, why is everyone making sourdough now? But yes, you're gonna want 5G.
AT&T is building 5G on America's best network. Visit att.com to learn more.
So it ends where it began, a 16-9 on both Overpass and Mirage, both of the maps that Tyloo won in this series. Of course, on top of that, they had the one map advantage. They win a 3-2 over ViCi, but it definitely took its time getting there. We go all the way to the 5th map. And for Tyloo, one wonders whether that's a good result, a bad result, or just a neutral kind of a result. Either way, we're here to break it down for you. My name is Elfish Guy, joining Karath and Pilski on the desk. And we've just cast 11 hours of Counter-Strike, so excuse us if we are a little bit cooked. But fellas, it's nice to see Tyloo getting a victory with this new roster. Disappointing for ViCi, obviously, to go that deep into the series and not be able to say something for it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that was just down to the lack of firepower at the end of the day. I mean, just taking a quick look at the stats, because it was just... I'm trying to find some numbers to back up my theory, and it looks like it's correct. It's just across the board, they didn't put up the same numbers against Tyloo. And, I mean, Tyloo, the series was very close, and I feel like that's because Danking actually had a bit of a shocker. Overall, less than 1 rating. For a guy that was coming in sitting at, like, I think 1.5 rating beforehand and then dropping 1 in the grand finals or below 1, and Tyloo's still winning when one of your impact players goes missing, that's pretty good for Tyloo.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got to look at it in the context again that he is a newer player coming into this Tyloo roster. He's going against arguably one of the better teams within the Asian region, definitely up there in at least the top 4. And so to be able to consistently drop a 1.5 is going to be a tough ask for someone like Danking, particularly against a team like ViCi. Either way, Tyloo gets over the line. Pilski, I know you were sort of jumping off that ViCi bandwagon before this game. Are you even further off the bandwagon? You know, has it sailed off into the sunset now?
I just feel disappointed. Like, in all honesty, I was getting ready for my ViCi era a little while ago, you know, definitely heading into Road to Rio, similar to what you said, Jordan, and, you know, they missed out on the opportunities to go to some international events due to some visa issues and things of that nature. So, unfortunately, even though they have had some decent results from this roster, it's disappointing performances and continual inconsistent individual performances that makes me feel like their time has sort of passed. They've missed their window, I feel like.
Yeah, I really feel like we've gone through kind of a roller coaster of emotions, not only for ViCi, but just for a lot of Asian CS in general. And I guess that's kind of what you're going to get. It sort of comes with the job here. We've had our highs for Thai CS, and then we've seen the lows. We've had the highs as well for ViCi, and now we've seen the lows. And I guess we're in that part of the wave where we're now riding the high a little bit more so for Tyloo. I think coming into the next Asian tournament, we're going to be talking about Tiger, we're going to be talking about Tyloo, and we're going to be talking about potential redemption maybe for ViCi. But those are the 3 big storylines now, as opposed to what we were telling coming into Road to Rio. So this just sort of seems like the natural flow of Asian Counter-Strike, Kev. You can't keep a team and an organization like Tyloo down for long.
No, 100% not. And, I mean, they did all the rebuilding the correct way. They're trying to get more firepower into the roster again. They're trying to make sure they're all across the same board and now trying to get structure. Look, I'll be honest, the Grand Finals wasn't convincing from them. Let's be realistic, right? Now, it's that makes it, I don't know how many tight series they've had against ViCi where you can say that arguably, okay, one thing goes one way. I mean, to be fair, it could have been a 3-0 tonight. If Tyloo had the killer instinct that you might see a couple of months down the line, ViCi would have had no chance coming into Inferno on that comeback, and it would have been 3-0. We would have been out here like 2 or 3 hours ago, not looking at Overpass and trying to like see what happens. So
I mean, that would have made it an even worse storyline for ViCi and a far better one as well for Tyloo. So at least those couple of maps that you get for ViCi, the 19-15 on Inferno, the 16-11 there on Train, you know, you kind of have to give them a little bit of credit for those 2 maps, don't you, Pilski?
Yeah, you do. It takes a lot. I think the thing is that you have 2 massive individual performances from Kaze putting them over the top in those series. So I don't know how I feel about them. It's good to see them not get 3-0'd though.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. ViCi, of course, are going to have to do a little bit of rebuilding. But speaking of the rebuilding, we've been kind of talking about that for Tyloo, Kev, where they've had to make those 2 roster changes. And looking at the 2 roster changes, you know, Danking comes in. You've already talked about how solid he was here in DreamHack Masters Spring. Slowly, also very, very good. Maybe went a little bit missing in the grand final there, but kind of showed up towards the end, particularly on Overpass, and sort of blew ViCi out of the water. So it's got to be fair to say that these 2 additions to the Tyloo roster have done nothing but bolster it, at least from what we saw from the Freeman and Zeta era.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, just once again, I have to hark on the fact that communication, right? I mean, even as Zeta was trying to learn Chinese or Mandarin in particular here, trying to fit in, it's just so difficult because it's just... Yeah, it's just down to like the language sense and context and communication. And when Counter-Strike's a game about milliseconds and timing, and if you can't get your words out in time, it's just going to hamper that even further. So I feel like this is once again in the right step. All right, let's see how they can go from here. But they need to take the next series a lot more convincingly for me to go, yep, these guys are definitely #1 at this stage.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough as well. Let's take a look back at the past few days here of Asian Counter-Strike. We'll show you the bracket and see where everything ended up. And obviously, if you've been watching, you'd have noticed that Tyloo picked up the grand final victory over ViCi Gaming. Of course, ViCi had no real problems against the Thai rosters. I mean, the game against Beyond was a little bit iffy, but by and large, we expected the two Chinese teams through to the grand final. We expected them to be head and shoulders above the Thai region, and they were. So where does this leave Thailand now, Pilski? And obviously we'll talk about China after that.
Kind of in the bin. I think as well you can look at the fact that they've lost a pretty important influential figure in one of their most critical teams, which is CBBK leaving Lucid Dream. That's a big loss in my opinion. Even though there is plenty of Thai players still left over, it's questionable how many solid teams they'll be able to put together, and if they can start to turn around this form. I'm pretty happy with how this bracket's played out in terms of how I thought it was going to go. I think the only thing I really got wrong was the fact that Beyond outperformed Lucid Dream, but you couldn't have really predicted that based on the inner workings of that team.
Definitely not. And as far as the Chinese region is concerned, Kev, it's still fair to say that they're well and truly at the top of Asia.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I mean, a huge question mark because 100% for now because Tiger wasn't in here. Right? What happens if the Mongolian teams came in? What damage could they do? Because we've seen D13 actually push Tyloo to the limit before. I think they took the victory, didn't they?
Yeah, even Marzalai almost beat them.
Yeah. So, I mean, these Mongolian teams like pushing these Chinese teams to the limits, but Tiger were able to take the victory. And it's just once again, another question mark. Yes, they're the best in China at the moment. Yeah, they're better than all the SEA teams, but they have been for a long time now. But are they better than Mongolia?
That's a very good question, and maybe something that we can ask Jack, who we have on the line. He is the manager of Tyloo. So, g'day, Jack. It's good to hear from you again.
Hello.
How are you doing?
How are you guys?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. And for you guys, you must be feeling pretty happy. That's a good win on the board for Tyloo, and as I understand, the first with this new roster.
Yeah, it's been pretty long since we've actually win some tournaments, so we are like really happy right now. Even though we couldn't do what we expected, which is to win more convincingly, but ViCi, they showed some really good fight, and we're just happy we won at the end.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, I mean, we've seen a consistent ramp up in your guys' performance. It seems like you're getting better from tournament to tournament, but I would agree with you. I would have liked to see you do it more convincingly. Are you feeling like you're getting more consistent? And do you feel like as you're running into more of these issues in tournaments like this, you're going to be able to fix those things up? I mean, especially I was having a look at Dan King, who was a bit inconsistent in this series. You guys just looking to get better and better and continue that better performance into the next tournament?
I think we can, but I think against ViCi it's always a bit hard because there are between us and them there are a lot of anti-stress preparations going on before the game, so it's always hard to play against them. Especially if they did their homework and try to understand us, and I think it also goes the same way for us. We also do a lot of preparations, so it's always different to play against ViCi to rest of the teams in Asia. But we feel like we are getting better and better, and we are building confidence. So hopefully for next tournament, we can show more.
Yeah, quick question from me: who is in-game leading for you guys at the moment?
It's Summer.
Summer's leading.
Yeah,
okay.
He's in-game leading. Yep.
Okay, fair enough.
Of course, the coach helps him out on a lot of situations, but the in-game leader role is now for Summer. Yes.
Okay, that's quite interesting. So
yeah, I mean, not too much of a surprise. Summer has in the past IGL'd for Tyloo. One final question for you, Jack, before we let you go. We were just discussing a little bit amongst ourselves on the desk where we're sort of ranking teams within the Asian region, and we sort of still have China up towards the top, probably #1 and #2, yourselves and ViCi. Tiger is becoming part of that conversation, though. So do you see Tiger as probably the biggest threat for yourselves, or is there another team that you're kind of looking out for?
Yeah, I think definitely, especially after they beat us in Road to Rio. We feel like, especially because of their playstyle, Tiger is more of a threat. But these three teams, us, ViCi, and Tyloo, us, ViCi, and Tiger is the top three teams, and it's pretty close, I would say.
Awesome. Great to hear your thoughts then, and fantastic win from you guys as well. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much for the interview as well, Jack. So, great to hear from Jack. We always have a good conversation with him when we get him on the line. And obviously, he is the manager for Tyloo. A very good mouthpiece for them as well, as they're quite well represented now, I guess, within the English community by him. It's interesting to hear his thoughts on where he sort of sees the Asian region. Quite a nice little tidbit there with the sort of play style discussion between Tiger and Tyloo. He sort of sees them as the biggest threat, which doesn't seem to come as too much of a surprise for us that have been watching a lot of Asian Counter-Strike recently.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to, you know, who's your biggest threat in terms of the play style, like you said, and the firepower, whereas ViCi, it's a little bit of a more nuanced thing with the mind games and the vetoes and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, different threats for Tyloo to navigate their way through, but I'm sure you know, being challenged by these kind of rosters is only going to make them stronger in the long term.
Indeed, indeed. And one more thing before we do close the show, Pilski, we have to talk about all of the fantastic plays that we've seen today, and there is one that shines above the rest. It'll be our Corsair play of the day. It is APOC, and it goes back a long way. It feels like ages ago that we saw this, but APOC with the MP9 4K defending the A bomb site is what gave Avant the possibility to win this map. It's a huge, huge round from APOC, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm allowed to use the critical round beam again, this is pretty much the most critical round of all for Avant to actually construct that comeback into Dust 2. At this situation, it's a half buy. If Renegades take it 14-11, they build up their economy. But the fact of APOC being able to hold on the A bomb site with an MP9 of all things against a full buy just completely trashes the Renegades' economy and also builds up Avant for the eventual victory on Dust 2. And that was actually the first map in the Grand Finals that they took, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely a solid day for Avant. Not being able to get the victory, though, over Renegades, but you do have to give them credit for pushing it that far. And, I mean, I guess it's a similar storyline, right, for ViCi as well. But I did feel as though ViCi and Tyloo were a little bit closer matched going into that, and so we come away with maybe a bit more of a sour taste in our mouths when it does come to that Asian Grand Final.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, there's a couple of questions as for ViCi going forward, whether they're going to be able to recover from a result like this, Tyloo's consistency, and obviously how did Tiger fit into all this, because they didn't even get a chance to show it, missing out.
Well, it's been great to have you on the desk, Pilski. Kev, your final thoughts before we close the show?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a really good DreamHack overall. Once again, the team showed some good Counter-Strike. It's just down to finding that consistency for a lot of the players. And look, once they find it, I reckon they'll be back in the server looking to Counter-Strike each other. And we'll be here just commentating away, enjoying the action, especially with Pickle Man. So
indeed, and we're looking forward to it. So thank you guys for joining us on the desk. Thanks to Mac as well, who couldn't be with us today. Thanks to the sponsors. We want to give a quick shout out to them before we close the show as well. They made DreamHack Masters Spring possible, so definitely show your support to them. Thank you from myself for tuning in and watching over the course of this week. Thank you to the production team for helping us out as well. They've been slaving away in the back of the house as well to help us out here. That's all from us though here at DreamHack Masters Spring. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.